Hello everybody, I'm Seibenlore bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. So with the approaching release of Dragons of Tarkir, we're starting to get a good picture of what the storyline will be like. One major aspect of the story to be revealed recently is the fate of the Jeskai Khan, Narset. I discussed a lot about Narset's story leading into Fate Reforged in my overview of the Jeskai clan, so if you want the background, check that video out in this link. As the story of Fate Reforged was released, we found that Narset was in fact killed by the Mardu Khan, Zurgo Helmsmasher. But, since we went back in time and changed history, Narset's destiny was actualized. With the reforging of the timeline on Tarkir, we find a new background for Narset's origins. Just as it was in the original reality, Narset was always special, even at a young age. As a child, she experienced these strange sensations that made her feel like she always had to be moving. She would jitter and constantly be on the lookout for something new to discover. She basically had a natural desire to learn and possessed a great, untold potential within her. But she would never go on to be that enlightened master of the Jeskai clan, for you see, the clans don't really exist in this new alternate reality. Dragons were spared from extinction on Tarkir, and here they now reside as Dragon Lords. As these unsettling feelings intensified in Narset, her behavior soon became too much for her mother or her neighbors to bear. Feeling lost and isolated, Narset ran to find something new to discover. As she ran, she heard a voice whisper to her, calling to her very mind. She discovered that the voice was not specifically meant for her, but rather, she was overhearing a teacher giving a lesson to his students. This was no ordinary teacher, however. This was the teachings of the great Dragon Lord Ojutai, and his classroom was the great summit of the Dragon's Eye Sanctuary. Although she was not officially in the class, Ojutai sensed something about the girl, the overwhelming mark of potential greatness. He turned to her, and from a great distance, instructed the girl to learn under him in secret. Whenever Narset's mother would take her to the marketplace from then on, she would wander away and attend the teachings of the all-knowing dragon. For 3 years, Narset studied from afar. She became adept in the complex arts of spellcrafting, while also increasing her stamina, strength, balance, and dexterity. Much of her restlessness had subsided, but it was not completely gone. As her training became more routine, Narset began to feel the jitters returning. She confided in her teacher to make good on his promise to teach her everything there was to know, but that would only be possible if she were to train directly under him in the Dragon's Eye Sanctuary. While performing her normal balance exercises one day, she was startled by a voice, but it was not the voice of a dragon. Keeping her composure, she found that it came from an Aven dressed in the official robes of the Dragon's Eye Court. The Aven introduced herself as Dragon Speaker Isha. Narset knew of the Dragon Speakers, a group of individuals who are closest to the Dragon Lord himself, but she could not believe that she was actually talking to one face to face. Isha informed the young girl that the Dragon Lord had accepted her plea to join his students atop the summit, and that she would be instructed by Ojutai himself. Narset could hardly believe what she was hearing, but without hesitation, she readied herself to meet her master. Her training was intense. It pushed her mind and body to its very limits. All throughout, her Dragon Master implored her to seek enlightenment wherever she may find it. She found personal strength in her relationship with Ojutai. Their minds seemed to be connected. Narset thought more like a dragon than a human being. This bond catapulted the young student up the ranks of the Dragon's Order, and soon, she found herself atop the very pedestal where Ojutai himself stood. It was a joyous occasion to be sure. Narset had achieved the title of Master faster than any other student before her. Yet, no joy was had by Narset in this accomplishment. As the ceremony began, she could feel the jitters returning. Had she really learned everything there was to learn? Does she really have nowhere else to go? Is this it? Narset was not satisfied. She still wanted to learn, but it appeared the Dragon's Eye Sanctuary had nothing more to offer. In a panic, she rushed down the mountainside, hoping to relieve her restlessness by any means necessary. As she stumbled, she discovered an ancient passage blocked by a magically sealed door. With her interest piqued for the first time since leaving the sanctuary, she used her magic to unlock the door and entered into the unknown. The place was foreign to her, yet she still knew of its purpose. It was the secret archive of Ojutai's personal scrolls, which he had forbade any student from reading. This, of course, would not stop the ever-curious Narset. She read scroll after scroll, and a story started to appear. It was the history of Tarkir, but it was not the history she was familiar with. Things were different, wrong. It told of a world conquered by clans and ruled by khans. It described the extinction of the dragons on Tarkir at the hands of these khans, but in Narset's history, no such clans existed, and dragons were certainly not extinct. She traveled to the other known sanctuaries across Tarkir, looking for similar scrolls to help complete the puzzle in her mind. In each temple, she found more and more hints to this alternate history. She learned of each of the khans, she learned of their plan to end the dragons to save their clans, and she learned of a man, a dragon, named Sarkhan. This great being saved the spirit dragon Ugin, and as a result, saved all dragons on Tarkir. Yet she discovered one last thing, the last piece of the puzzle. She read about a meeting between the great khans as they discussed their plan, but this meeting never concluded. Two great dragons swooped in with their brood and utterly destroyed the khans, shattering their clans and ending their rule. One of those dragons had been Ojutai. As she discovered this great truth, the true history of Tarkir and what occurred to change it, Narset felt something release inside her very spirit. She clenched her fist as she was peeled from this world and traveled to another. Her spark had ignited. As she journeyed through the blind eternities, she saw countless worlds with untold knowledge for her to explore, but something kept her from landing on any of them. She forced herself back to Tarkir. She had to confront Ojutai. She couldn't speak while in the great dragon's presence, but he could sense something had changed. He asked her what she had discovered, and she replied with the truth. The dragon looked into her very soul and told her that reflection can lead us all forward. All one must do is seek enlightenment. With that one simple phrase, Narset was fully informed for the first time in her life. She knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that the actions of Sarkhan, Ugin, and Ojutai resulted in a better reality, filled with happier people and a greater Tarkir. Ojutai told his student that there was always more to learn, you just had to go look for it. And with that, he flew off. Narset thanked her master and began her own adventures as a Planeswalker. So, there you go guys, the lore behind Narset Transcendent and the newest Planeswalker to Magic the Gathering. Her story was an interesting development over the course of these sets, and I'm very pleased to see my girl Planeswalking. It's also a bonus that she just so happens to be a pretty darn good card in my opinion. So what do you think about Narset's story? Are you going to run this new Planeswalker in any of your decks? Let me know that in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.